In this video, I'm going to break down how to create these custom properties, how to use them throughout your CSS, what to do if a custom property isn't declared and you try and use it, and of course, what happens if you declare one the wrong way. What does the browser actually do? I'm going to take you through all four of those things in this video, so stay tuned. Now, the first thing I'm going to show you is in our example HTML, we have an H1 and we have a button, and I already have created the styles in our styles.css file for both of these things. Now, one of the best reasons to use CSS custom properties is for colors that you're repeating, like a primary color. Now, to declare a CSS custom property, I'm going to start out by declaring one inside of my H1 rule, and I'm going to call this primary color, and I'm going to take the color that I've defined here, my hex color, and I'm going to put it up here. So now I have a primary color custom property. Now you'll notice I used 2 dashes on the front. This is not personal styling. This is actually required in order to be able to use custom properties. You have to use the 2 dashes in order to create a custom property in CSS. Now to use this, what we'll need to use is the var function, and then we put our variable name inside, or our custom property name inside that var function, and that's what makes this work. So you can see that I've now switched from just using the hex value for color to now using a custom property to create my color for my H1. Now this isn't the best approach, and that's because I have scoped my variable inside my H1 tags. So because my button is outside of my H1 tag, I can't use the same primary color variable. If I try and go in here and use that, you'll see primary color, it disappears because that variable actually doesn't exist for me right there. Now, this brings up a really good point. What happens if I want to make sure that even if that variable isn't defined, I have something there? I can actually use what's called a fallback value. So to use a fallback value, you put a comment and you tell it what color or what you want the fallback value of that custom property to be. Let's just say pink in this case. If I do that, I can say, okay, use the CSS custom property if it's there, but if it's not, use the fallback value that I've defined here. Now, I'm not going to do this right now, and I don't think it's necessarily super efficient to do it this way. Instead, what we're going to do is we're going to move the declaration of our CSS custom property into a better spot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up here and I'm going to create a root selector. Now, root is great because while the root of your HTML document is probably HTML, if you're styling something like an SVG, that doesn't start with an HTML tag. So root is a really good global selector to use, especially for these custom properties. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to move my custom property declaration right into the top here. Now, all of a sudden, we have it available for our button and our H1. So we can define this one time, and then we never have to remember this hex value, and we don't have to copy and paste it. We can just use the name that's easy to remember, primary color. And of course, we don't need this backup here anymore, so I'm just going to take that off. Now, what if we define a value for a custom property inaccurately? What does it actually do? Let's look at what this does. Now, to demonstrate this, I'm going to set 2 rules in a row. I'm going to say color green, and then I'm going to say color primary color, or use the custom CSS custom property right here. Now, this is to demonstrate a very important point. If we were to take this away, or say let's say we said 16 pixels, give it just a wrong CSS value, it's actually going to fall back to the last correct rule that was used. And that's normal CSS, how CSS works. But if we're using CSS custom properties using var and we define the variable wrong, it doesn't know. It evaluates it actually at runtime, and it doesn't know what to do with that. So if I say this is 16 pixels, what you'll notice is it doesn't fall back to the green anymore. It actually goes back to what the default color of that would be that the browser sets by default. So this is kind of a weird thing that CSS custom properties do. So you should definitely be aware that don't define your CSS custom properties wrong. Otherwise, it is not even going to fall back to something else. It's literally just going to go to browser defaults. So I hope this was helpful for you to understand custom properties. I'm going to go ahead and put this back real quick so we can see it being used correctly. And I hope that was helpful for you. Be sure and subscribe to this video series if you want more helpful videos like this. If you're learning HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and beyond, I'll be here every single day to teach you something new. I'll see you in the next video.